Welcome to Expat Hoops, where we talk to basketball players who have played professionally overseas. Steph Kostowicz joins us today, whose career has taken her all around Europe after a career at University of Wisconsin Milwaukee. Tony's on vacation this week, but he wanted to remind you to be interactive with us at Expat Hoops as we continue to grow our pod. Follow and interact with us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and comment on the videos there. Now, if you'll join me in welcoming Steph to Expat Hoops. Welcome, Steph.
Thanks for having me.
So take us through a little bit of your college career. You graduated from University of Wisconsin Milwaukee with a BS in nursing while double majoring in psychology. Played a couple sports, broke a couple records, graduated with honors. I mean, how much spare time did you even have in college?
Yeah, no, my college career is something crazy for me to look back on. I have no idea how I balanced everything. I was a two-sport Division I athlete. I played basketball. I was also on the track and field team where I threw shot put and discus in the outdoor season. I actually still hold the school record in shot put. I got my BS in nursing, double major in psychology, took 19 credits both semesters of my senior year. Not because I was forced to, but it felt good, so I did it. So yeah, it was a wild ride, pretty successful basketball career too, and it led me to be here in Romania.
Yeah.
Continuing my fourth year professionally.
I'm sure at some point you wanted to play professionally. That was a goal of yours, but when was it that you actually decided, okay, I'm going to actually do this? And what was the process like for you in terms of finding an agent, finding a first job, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I actually playing professionally wasn't really a goal of mine until right up to the end of my career. One of my assistant coaches, Coach Frank Goldberry, he always kept planting the idea in my mind. He never forced me, but he's always like, well, you could travel the world, make money playing a game, stay in great shape. And eventually I wasn't ready to let it go as the end of my career was nearing. So I'm like, well, might as well get the free plane ticket overseas, see what happens, and ended up really enjoying the lifestyle, and here I am. But as for finding an agent, my head coach, Kyle Reckless, helped me a lot, just with previous players that she had that had agents, just getting me into the system.
Interesting. So that was actually kind of nice that you had a coach that was just like, okay, this is where you go. You didn't have to really do a lot to kind of find it out on your own or stumble through it.
Yeah.
That's really actually kind of nice.
For her.
And actually, 4 years into your career now, do you actually have the same agent or have you switched agents at any point in time?
No, I actually just switched agents. So I was with the same agent for my first 3 years. And then maybe about August, I switched. So I'm going to sign with a new one.
And what was behind the switch, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm just ready to take on a different route. A lot of agents specialize in different countries or regions, and I was in Greece for 3 years, and I was ready for a change. And my new agent got me a wonderful opportunity, and I'm very thankful for him.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things we've heard on the pod before is, sometimes agents will specialize in certain, not like you said, certain countries, but certain regions. And that's sometimes how you see certain people pop up in similar countries that they might have similar agents and things like that. So that makes complete sense. You alluded to it now, I think a couple times that you started off in Greece, or I guess the start of your career was split between Greece and Hungary. Take us through your first year overseas.
Oh, my first year was crazy looking back on it. So I started off in Olympiacos in Athens, Greece, making very little money. They actually still owe me couple months salary. I'm sure I'll never see that. But my team ended up imploding maybe in about February of my season, so a couple months left. My agent at the time found me a job in Hungary, so I finished out my first career in Budapest.
So as far as that goes, in terms of that they weren't paying you and everything like that, I'm sure it made it a little bit easier to just say that basically they were already in breach of their contract, and so that's why you were able to find the other one. It wasn't a situation where, for instance, they're current and that there was any dispute about it. I'm sure they may not have liked it, given the way that certain teams react, but I don't know, what was that actually like when you were in Greece and saying, yeah, I'm going somewhere else? Or did they just kind of, yeah, we know we're not paying you, we get it?
Well, it was a wild ride. My coach quit. He quit in maybe January. We are at the bottom of the league. I think we won 2 or 3 games at that point. So that team would have dropped to the second division no matter what. So I think everyone was just thrown in the towel. If I would have stayed, I don't think I would have saw that money anyway. So there was no hard feelings partying for either side.
It's just interesting because, you know, certain areas or certain whatever they kind of have expectations of you, but this is sort of one of those ones where it's like you said, everybody's just kind of throwing in the towel and just like, yeah, we can.
Yep.
So take us through the remaining portion of your first season in Hungary. What was that experience like after what you went through in Greece that first year?
Yeah, so by a lot of people's standards, Greece isn't a very professional league for women's basketball. It's considered closer to the bottom, but as far as lifestyle and social aspects, like most of the teams are in Athens, so you're surrounded by a lot of potential American friends and city with amazing history, culture, social life. So it was nice to be there, but getting that chance to go to Budapest was a little bit easier. It's not like I was going to the middle of nowhere. Like I was in another capital, and I got to still on a pretty lower level team. We were in playouts, but my job was to basically keep them afloat in the first division, and we accomplished that goal. So everyone was happy.
So in the end, a successful first season, even if it took a little bit of a meandering route.
Yeah, it was. We got to where I needed to be.
But it's also your situation is very similar to a lot of other people that do first year, that either you didn't get paid very much, you didn't get paid. You actually even had to switch. So, I mean, in some ways, it's, I guess, comforting to know that it was somewhat of a normal, quote unquote, experience for somebody starting off.
Yeah.
Hopefully, since then, it's been a little bit more smooth sailing.
Yeah, for sure.
For the most part,
been getting better. Every year is better.
Well, there we go. Let's pick up the momentum there. Your second year, you go back to Greece. Take us through that second year now, actually having kind of lived in the country. And been through quite a bit for a first season.
Yeah, so I had pretty good stats my first season. I led the Greek league in scoring, went to Hungary, was also really successful. So I was kind of looking for my next move. Was told there was an opportunity back in Athens, and I was excited about that. I had a great first time. It was hard for me to leave that new place that I started learning to call home. So I took that chance. I went back, got a little bit more money, and then COVID hit close to the end of the season, and then that wraps up the second year.
It was very quick then, when you summarize it like that. And what was your experience like at that point in time? I know when COVID hit that, it's a little bit different when you're over there and you're kind of seeing things kind of creep into Europe, especially like what was going on in Italy. Was it something that you were kind of mindful of, or did it just kind of pop up on your consciousness and it's like, that's it, we're done?
Yeah, it was a pretty abrupt ending to our season. We started hearing rumors about COVID just like everyone did in America. I would say, I only have experience in Greece when it comes to COVID, but like the grocery stores weren't running out of toilet paper or anything. There were crazy lines for supplies, but it did get dead. A lot of the social life that I went back for wasn't there anymore. And then you have your parents and your family begging you to come home as soon as possible because no one knows what's happening. So
and in regards to that, did you have any sort of struggle with the team, or did the team kind of realize that, like, because I know that some of the experiences with some of our other guests that were over there, that, they were wondering whether they either could get back or when was the right time to leave, and you don't want to leave your team too early and, or anything like that. So what was your experience like actually when it was about time to think about going back and the team saying, fine, okay, yeah, we get it?
Yeah, well, our league canceled. Like they came flat out and said, the season is over, we're done, it is what it is, like wrap it up. And then I decided to stay for maybe a couple of weeks longer. Maybe I was there for about 2 or 3 weeks after the season ended. And then my agent called me to let me know that the airport would be closing down 2 days from now. So I quick packed up all my stuff, got on the last flight out, and made it home in time.
So at least that was smooth enough then.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I didn't have any problems in the airport coming home at all.
Well, that's really good to hear. So
Yeah.
third season also has a little bit of intrigue to it as well. So third year, you're back in Greece again, playing for Greek powerhouse Olympiacos. Take us through what that season was like and any of the issues that you might have had.
Yeah, I was very excited to sign for Olympiacos. I was ecstatic to play for such a well-known and historic club. All around Europe is well-known, and just to have that like fan base and people behind you ready to back you at every corner. So I was really excited to play for them. I signed as soon as I got the contract. There was no hesitation, and we went over. Started out normally, the rumors swirling like they always do overseas, but nothing behind it. And then all of a sudden, our season gets shut down. We can't even practice for 4 months. So that's just the women, not the men.
And I mean, was there any period of time that the men were shut down? And what was the actual discrepancy? Okay, so just the women were shut down for 4 months, just for the heck of it, basically.
Yeah, so we got shut down immediately. We couldn't practice, we couldn't play, we couldn't even use the facilities at the gym. And while the men's league never stopped playing, never stopped practicing, never a blip in the schedule. So,
and what was the supposed reason that you needed to stop?
So they never gave us a reason, which, I mean, the reason was COVID, which the country went back into lockdown. The restaurants were shut down, malls were shut down, clubs were shut down. So the reason was COVID, but our male counterparts apparently didn't have that COVID hassle. But it was just interesting to see how the Greek government handled it, especially considering they can't use the money argument. There's no fans. Fans aren't allowed. So we're just shot in the foot because we're women at that point.
So there's certainly, I'm trying to think about how to put this, because in America, we've had certainly our issues with the level of support for female athletes. I know that it, the last NCAA tournament, that it was a, wide discrepancy between what the men got and what the women got. But having now traveled overseas, what has been your experience, I guess, comparing and contrasting the progress that we need to make as Americans in terms of women's sports, but also comparing and contrasting that with what you've seen so far overseas?
Well, it's interesting you say that because there's different levels of things we need to improve on. So in America, a lot of what we need to improve on is respecting women's sports and then representing them in the same way. Overseas, we have that respect. Like, I've never been told by a fan, like, oh, you just play women's basketball. Like, like, you're a woman, so it doesn't matter. But it's more the social justice part of it overseas. Like, even in Greece, for example, they're still not as ahead on LGBTQ rights. Like, gay marriage still isn't legal in Greece. So it's just seeing how far behind in the social aspect, but not in the sport aspect, if that makes sense.
So it's actually like you actually don't have much of a facility discrepancy overseas as opposed to.
Oh, I can't say that. So for Olympiacos, if you look up Olympiacos men's basketball, they play in this huge, beautiful arena, Peace and Friendship Stadium. It's absolutely gorgeous. And we actually play in the same building, but it was in a little practice gym on the side. So, I mean, sure, whatever. Would we fill it up? No, probably not. But the fact that it's 3 steps over to the left doesn't make you feel good. No.
Yeah. So it's interesting. That was one of the things that I was wondering what sort of specifically, because Olympiacos is like I said, it's a powerhouse earlier. And we actually have interviewed people that played for the men's side of Olympiacos. So very well aware of what kind of they get in terms of the game day experience, but I was curious to see sort of what the differences are in terms of your ability to use like the training facilities and everything like that. Is it virtually the same? Oh, okay.
No, so we don't even get to use the weight room that the men use, even though it's right there. If no one's using it, we can't use it. There's actually a very small, maybe the size of a smaller kitchen weight room that every other team in Olympiacos gets to use. And then there's the men's weight room.
Interesting. And take me through this particular year back at Olympiacos that it's now the third time you've been in Greece to varying levels of, experience between the COVID year, your partial year in Greece. What was it like now? I don't want to say post-COVID, but post-COVID outbreak. Were you able to go around and see more things? And kind of what was your experience like off the court in your third year now that COVID was kind of, I wouldn't say a way of life, but we're kind of adapting, I guess?
Yeah. Well, in Greece, maybe it was different in other countries, but everything started opening up again in May or June. So we went back on lockdown in October, where you needed like your paper with where you're going and a mask on at all times. So I think you could either go to the pharmacy, the doctor, the bank, or the grocery store, or to exercise. But you needed a paper for all of those things in case you got stopped. So right when I left is when things started opening back up again. So it really wasn't much to see or do, just like the year before.
Well, hopefully at some point you got to look around Greece.
Probably
year one more than likely, but
no, I love Greece. I absolutely loved Athens, and I would definitely go back.
Yeah. So now you're in year 4 and you're coming to us from Romania. First of all, take us through sort of what the decision was. We alluded to it earlier on that you wanted to explore new opportunities. You got a new agent. Why Romania? Where were some of the places that you were looking for in terms of your switch, and why ultimately Romania?
Yeah, so I actually wasn't even going to play the season. I was ready to settle down, get a normal big girl job back home in Milwaukee. And just about in August, when I signed with my new agent, is when I decided maybe I'll see what's out there, and if a good opportunity comes up, I'll take it. And this one in Romania was a bit too good for me to turn down. It'd be more money than I would be making at home, so why not?
And how long have you been over in Romania so far?
I've been here a little over a month.
Over a month. And so what have you done to get acclimated? I know we were talking a little bit, I think, before the pod started, that you're about 3 hours away from the international airport. So you're certainly a little bit more rural, I guess, from the sounds of it.
Yeah, so this is the first time I haven't been in a capital in my time overseas.
And so take me through what your day-to-day life is. What's the kind of some of maybe the closest attractions that you might want to check out?
I wouldn't say there's any close attractions. I've been looking at renting a car to drive to Budapest, which is 3 hours away. So, I mean, that's on the to-do list. But otherwise, there's not much to do in Satu Mare. We practice twice a day, almost every day. Game once a week. Not even a Starbucks in my city. If that shows you how small it is, but getting used to it and finding my way around.
That's interesting. So one of the things we alluded to earlier on was that you are playing in America as well. You've played for the Wisconsin Glo, and actually, I think it's your pinned tweet. Actually, as we're sitting down, Twitter is pretty much the only thing that's up because Facebook and Instagram are down. You have probably one of the best pinned tweets I've seen. I really like that one, and we'll probably retweet it when this comes out. But you've experienced some level of success with the Wisconsin Glo. Take me through how long you've played for them, what that experience has been like, and I think you've even gotten to play with some, I think, college teammates on that particular team.
Yeah, I've played. The Glo is absolutely amazing. I think if you talk to any one of us that are part of that program, you would hear the same thing. But basically, it's a group of mostly women from Wisconsin, huge names from Wisconsin that got together, and we play in the Global Women's Basketball Association League, a league that's looking to become sort of like the G League is for the NBA. So the WNBA doesn't have anything like that. So we're looking to kind of make a footprint and put our foot in the door there. But it's just a very fun league. I've won 2 championships with them. We didn't get to play in 2020 when COVID hit, but we got to play this year and back-to-back champs, and it's absolutely beautiful to be able to play among these great basketball players and even better people.
And so how does that fit into your seasons? I know that it can vary from year to year how much you're overseas, whether it's 8, 10, months or whatever, but how does that fit into your schedule? Like, you're overseas during kind of the colder months. I'm assuming Wisconsin Glo is usually during the summer time. So how much of your time per year is usually taken up with actually playing basketball? I mean, I'm sure you're playing quite a bit during the year, but in terms of actually playing for teams and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so the Glo this past season was from June until August, and then the first year we did it in 2019 was from May to August. So we had a slightly shorter season this season just because of everything that's going on in the world. But we play on the weekends. There are many times that a lot of us have other stuff going on, whether it's a vacation or we're not back from our overseas job yet, or we need to leave early for our overseas job. But it's just a steady rotation of really great quality basketball players that we get to play with.
That's great. And so we kind of talked about it, or you mentioned it, that you were thinking about potentially not playing again this year, and a good opportunity came along. I guess, would you say that this potentially would be your last year, or what would you say that would it still be sort of one of those things that you take it year by year and see if the right opportunity comes along in the future?
It's funny you say that, because I know, and my friends who hear you ask me that question, they're going to say, she has no idea, because she's been saying it'll be her last year for 4 years now. So we're just playing it by the book now. We'll see what opportunities come my way, and if I can't turn them down, then I'll be back. But if there's other opportunities that I see that will help me go a little further in life, then I'll have to take those instead.
So I guess here's the question: what so far in your career has sort of been the pros and the cons of being an overseas basketball player? Obviously, we talked about some of the cons earlier, not getting paid.
Yeah.
But in terms of if you're looking forward to doing it, what is sort of the things that are, this career is not so great, or these are some of the things that are great about it?
Yeah. So let's start off with the not so great things. Like, you sometimes spend 8 or 9 months without seeing your family. This will be the second year in a row I don't get a Christmas break, so not even being able to see my parents or my sisters, grandparents, nieces and nephews. It's hard to see them continuing to live their life, and you're over here sometimes feeling like you're standing in the same spot, not really going anywhere, not really elevating, not really making a difference in the world. That's how I feel sometimes, especially being a registered nurse and seeing what's happening in the world, seeing the impact I could be making on people that need me. Kind of makes you feel the type of way knowing that you're not doing everything you could be doing. But the pros to keep playing, I mean, it's a lifestyle that obviously isn't meant for everyone, but you can get pretty attached to it. So I would say that I've really learned to like this lifestyle, to enjoy the independence and enjoying having a sole focus. But it does get hard, obviously, mentally, when you have that sole focus. If that sole focus isn't going your way, and that's your performance on the basketball court, it can feel like your whole world is crashing down around you. But if you have the right people around you, the right teammates, the right environment, you can get through anything.
And so how far are you into actually this particular season?
So we just had our first game yesterday, actually.
And how'd that go?
We won.
That's good. And we'll be talking a little bit more in terms of how people can watch your games a little bit more off the pod, and we'll certainly post the link. Probably if you're watching this, it'll be in the section below. So that's certainly something that we want to be able to keep up with you. Thank you for watching this episode of Expat Hoops. We have a lot more videos. We have not only the podcast that you just watched, we have Expat Extras, not only for this guest, but for a lot of other guests before. They're great stories that you will not find as a part of this or all the other podcasts. There are literally extras. That's why we call them extras. Expat Extras. Find one of them maybe down here. Go to our channel, look around, interact with our content, throw us a like, throw us a comment, whatever it is. We look to be interactive here. Throwing us a subscribe means you like what we're doing, means you want to know when we have new content. It helps us, It will help you, let you know when something is new, something's different. That subscribe is right down here, or there's also a subscribe button. Throw us a subscribe. We certainly appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Expat Hoops.